On a 75-degree Sunday afternoon in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. Welcome to Hart Park and National Premier Soccer League action. The FC Milwaukee Torrent host FC Indiana. Welcome to our match broadcast. My name is Matt Mendel. Two teams, different ends of the spectrum in the Midwest region, Great Lakes Conference. FC Milwaukee off to a perfect 6-0 start. They have outscored their first six opponents by a combined score of 15-5. And coming off a 3-0 victory against Panathinaikos Chicago from Naperville, Illinois. That was on Saturday, the 19th of June. As for FC Indiana, right now in fifth and last place at 0-4-1, 0-2 away from Lafayette, Indiana. Except FC Indiana is coming off one of their most competitive matchups of this 2021 season. They were able to settle for a 3-3 draw against Carpathia FC. That matchup taking place on Saturday, June the 19th, in which FC Indiana actually allowed an own goal in the 38th minute and allowed the equalizing goal in the 90th, as Carpathia FC fortunate to get out of there with a 3-3 draw. So that's the backdrop for this matchup. My name is Matt Mendel. Thanks for joining us on this Sunday as FC Milwaukee looks to stay perfect. They're also a perfect 3-0 here from Hart Park. Back in home action for the first time since June 12th when they knocked off FC Columbus by a 2-1 score. This is the second time these two clubs are meeting. They met in Lafayette, Indiana back on the 22nd of May, and the Torrent came away with a hard-earned 3-2 result in which Emiliano Caballero was able to score a goal, and then you had Tony Dulefeld coming through with a couple of finishes in that one-goal victory. The goalkeeping matchup, Pablo Ortiz, the starter for the blue-clad Torrent. As for FC Indiana, they will start Kyle Bouguet. They sport the white, but Bouguet in red. Happy to have you with us as this 2021 season winds down. Only three more matchups following this Sunday afternoon affair for the Torrent. FC Indiana, they will have a four-match slate remaining, which will include these two teams getting together in Lafayette, Indiana to wrap up the regular season on the 17th of July. Milwaukee will get this first half underway. Malik Menina will kick it off, and here we go on this Sunday. Again, thanks for joining us for continuing coverage of NPSL Soccer. We are live at Hart Park in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. The Torrent looking to stay perfect. FC Indiana looking for victory number one. They have not picked up a victory since taking care of business one time in 14 tries during the 2019 campaign. FC Indiana with a throw in here for Alex Gutierrez. So far they have had two players with all the scoring, the 7 goals that FC Indiana has produced. Andrew Revenalis, he has scored 4 times, and Ricardo John, he has found the back of the net 3 times. Passed outside by George Lamont. Into the Indiana attacking third. Staying with it, Anthony Diaz having it knocked out. As Diaz had his path cut off, it's going to be a goal kick here. That for Pablo Ortiz. Back there defensively for the Torrent, you had Tony Dulefeld applying some pressure, but also at that last moment, Matias Lopez looking to slow up that path for Diaz. Ortiz going back along this near side. For the Torrent, it's been a who's who as far as scoring goes. They've had a number of different players step up. Again, this is an offense that's been able to score 15 times, 11 different goal scores. Panathinaikos Chicago was the opponent last week, in which 3 new Torrent players recording their first goals of this season. Byron Gutierrez, Menina, and Sam Novak scoring goals in that shutout victory. Again, the third shutout for the Torrent this season. On the outside with Eisenhower, George Calagalbor. He's there for FC Indiana. He has been physical at times, so much so that he has seen his fair share of yellow cards, cautions come his direction. Cal Gabor. He'll be part of that back line for FC Indiana in front of Kyle Bouguet. And getting back downfield will be Menina as they throw in here for FC Indiana. For the Torrent, left back around the midfield, applying some pressure, Ricardo John. John, he is back out there. He was sent off 65th minute of their matchup against FC Columbus back on the 29th of May. Couple of send-offs, couple of red cards handed out in that matchup. A couple of players suspended for the matchup against Panathinaikos Chicago on June the 5th. Ended up being a 3-1 loss for FC Indiana. Off the long ball, Michael Carrion. But the offside flag went up along the far side as FC Indiana will put this one back into play. 4th minute on this Sunday. Just getting started, round 2 of 3 between the Torrent and FC Indiana. On the takeaway with Ian Cerro. Getting the pass right back, leaving it on this left flank. Michael Carrion off that lead feed. Well, trying to connect up top, that with Malik Menina. You know, he's playing with a great deal of confidence. His goal coming to the 67th minute last Saturday from Naperville, Illinois. 16 played in that shutout win for the Torrent. Sent ahead by Ricardo John and brought in here by Pablo Ortiz. Ortiz from Spain came to the United States. That back in August of 2016 to pursue a major in business and sports management from Cardinal Stritch. Had an All-American career at that NAIA program. Done a great job with the Torrent, and we mentioned the 3 shutouts. Set the tone right from the get-go. A shutout FC Columbus on the 8th of May. Also a shutout, a big shutout win, which gave the Torrent sole possession of first place, a spot they have yet to drop from when they shut out Carpathia FC here on May the 29th, and then the clean sheet just last week. Sayon Thomas ahead with Alan Bernardez. Christopher Bouguet, brought in here by Pablo Ortiz. Right now, one player down, slowly getting back to his feet, being Bernardez. As the Torrent play it back off that pass from Josiah Velos. Julefeld, mentioned he's been able to score 3 times and had a big performance last time these two clubs got together, scoring in the 5th and 20th minutes. Losing his footing, Eisenhower George, Cal Gabor, and a goal kick awarded to Kyle Bouguet. Scoreless here in the 6th minute. Sun peeking out here at Hart Park. Rain taken out of the forecast. Getting a little steamy, but also a little bit on the breezy side. Again, a game time temperature around 75 degrees. So Kyle Bouguet and FC Indiana so far this season, besides the fact they've been able to score 7 times, they've given up their fair share. They've been outscored 18-7. Seen 11 cautions against, with a couple of send-offs in their first now 5 matchups. It's off the left shoulder, Sam Novak getting back for the Torrent. Right back to Eisenhower George, Cal Gabor. Christopher Bouguet going to spread the field. Alex Gutierrez now taking a defensive approach. He lost his footing as the ball possessed there by Menina. Up this near wing, the pass from Matteo Constantini. He's part of that back line, starting 11 for the Torrent under their head coach, Carlos Cordoba. Some good speed and a hard tackle by Eisenhower George, Cal Gabor. That hard tackle following the Torrent run. Some great speed from Byron Gutierrez. The foul in the box and a penalty kick to be awarded. Malik Menina with the PK. This in the 8th minute. So the foul against Eisenhower George Calagabor in his attempt to slow down Byron Gutierrez. A chance here for the Torrent to score their 16th goal of the year. Menina looking for his second. On the whistle. 1-0 Torrent. FC Milwaukee striking first on a goal scored by Malik Menina on the PK. So a foul against Eisenhower George Calagabor in the 18. Menina scores his second of the year, second straight match in which he has found the back of the net. And that's the way things start on this Sunday afternoon. 19th goal allowed by FC Indiana. And we mentioned their last matchup last week. Some tough sequences. They played about as well as they've had all year. Found themselves in a spot where they thought perhaps they'd get that first victory. An own goal did them into the 38th minute, but then they gave up the equalizer in the 90th. Stoppage time. And Carpathia FCU still is in second place, 5 points back of the Torrent. Came away with a draw. Knocked away from Cerro. Again, there's the speed of Eisenhower George Calagabor. So the Torrent with a corner. This for Ian Cerro. He played soccer in Spain following high school before deciding to return to the States and play collegiately at SIUE. Brought in here by Kyle Bouguet, and so he went to get rid of it. Oncoming pressure from Menina. So Cerro played his college soccer at SIU Edwardsville, handling that corner, but Bouguet will bring it in cleanly. Torrent will take over, leading by a goal here in the 10th minute. Costantini. And a short pass back from Velos. So Sam Novak. And Novak coming off, as we mentioned, a goal in the last matchup. He scored in the 6th minute. Again, the 3-0 victory against Panathinaikos Chicago, a club that the Torrent have now beaten twice. The first time, like against FC Indiana, came away with a 3-2 result. As the Torrent, of their 6 wins, have come away with 3 one-goal victories. Knocked away by Rashid Sagain. And the Torrent throw-in for Velos. He picked up a caution. Yellow card going against Velos last Saturday. Getting back does Sagain. And a throw-in here for Dulefeld. The St. Louis, Missouri native. Spending a couple of years at Tulsa before transferring to Belmont. He was a Belmont Bruin. Costantini. Some more oncoming pressure from FC Indiana. That with Alan Bernardez. Dulefeld. And downfield with Anthony Diaz. Again, the defense able to slide over. Sam Novak playing on the outside. The throw in here for Rashid Sagain. Looking toward the attacking third. Revenalis, he sports jersey 21. Coming off a 2-goal performance against Carpathia FC, scoring in the 71st and 74th minutes. He's had to touch the ball here in this first half. And Ricardo John, which has been the other goal scorer. So that long ball intended for Alex Fillion. He has scored 3 times. He was a super sub, has worked his way into the starting 11. Bouguet. That's off the head of Ricardo John. Out of that midfield, the Torrent takeaway. And they get tripped up, Sam Novak. So an FC Indiana foul. A first half that so far has produced 1 shot and a Torrent goal, coming off a PK from Malik Medina in the 8th minute. Playing it back with Pablo Ortiz. No real pressure up top. Revenales, he's up top along with Ricardo John. A couple of the forwards attackers for FC Indiana, and John on the pass will give it right back. Yeah, George Lamont to his left. Short pass from Cerro. That combo play trying to go downfield. That run was being made by Byron Gutierrez, who helped set up the PK. He drew the foul, tripped up in the 18. Diaz. Off the mark up by Matias Lopez. Lopez showing off his offense. A couple of home matchups ago against Carpathia FC when he was able to score and break a 0-0 draw in the 69th minute. The pass from Cal Gabor. Bouguet with a touch. A Torrent foul. Back up is George Lamont. FC Indiana, a club that was established back in 2000, but they began as an arena team and eventually went the outdoor route as well in 2007, joining the NPSL in 2007. Went on hiatus for a couple of years, returned, but outdoor soccer did not return until more recent. That was in 2015 after they went on a hiatus, then came back in 2009 as an indoor club, exclusively indoor, that for 5 seasons. And they, like the rest of the league, a break last year due to the pandemic. But they have yet to win more than 2 matchups in any one single season for an outdoor club that's been around 2007 through 2009, again from 2015 through 19, again here in 2021. Trying to change that with, again, this match included, 5 matches remaining here in this regular season. The Torrent, meanwhile, playing the best soccer they have in their short history. Menina chasing Gutierrez. Out came Bouguet. Sending it across. Here's a chance. Goal! Tony Dulafeld has given the Torrent a 2-0 lead. This off the cross from Menina. That comes here in the 16th minute. And that was a thing of beauty. That coming after Kyle Bouguet came out to challenge. He tried to scramble back into positioning, but upper 90. Dulafeld off the cross from Menina. And Dulafeld has scored his team-leading 4th of the season. 2-0 Torrent. That goal in the 16th minute. Great lead feed with Alex Gutierrez defensively playing from behind. Malik Menina had an opportunity. Bouguet came out to challenge. Eventually resulted in Menina sending it across. Great find. And a strong finish still with Kyle Bouguet scrambling back into positioning. Looking for more. Alex Fillion. And a corner here for the Torrent. This being their 2nd corner of this first half. So the Torrent have scored twice on a couple of shots. Ian Cerro with the corner. Going far post. Trying to bring it down, Novak. And Dulafell on that far side to take it away. Indiana looking upfield. Long ball for Revenalis. Getting back for the Torrent. Lopez. And a clean takeaway. Velos. Cerro. And that was set behind his intended target. Was trying to connect with Carrion on that back line. Known for his quickness and speed, but no chance on that pass. And then knocked out by Indiana. Not quite 18 minutes down in, already a couple of goals on the board for the Torrent. And Dulafell has done it again. That's his third goal of the 4 that he has scored. 3 against FC Indiana. Ortiz. Great job so far by the Torrent here in this first half of working that ball around, getting a number of touches, spreading the field. Finding holes in this Indiana setup. Left back by Fillion. So he makes his way down the field. Novak out of the back. Again, no real pressure being applied at all from Revenalis. He continues to play up top along with Ricardo John. And now the Torrent, as they survey the field. Costantini. Right back with Novak. 20th minute. And a quick start for the Torrent, who have now scored 17 times this season. Next most in the Midwest Region Great Lakes Conference. A total of 14 goals put up on the board by Carpathia FC. They're idle this week. They play Wednesday, home against FC Columbus. Free kick coming up for FC Indiana. Ball being set up with Alan Bernardez. That spot along with George Lamont. It's going to be Lamont on the free kick. And the Torrent. And the yellow's been handed out. That's been handed out to Michael Carrion. The caution. So that comes here in the 21st minute. And that for the Torrent, their 16th yellow on the year. Lamont. Lamont right there to Ortiz. So again, the 21st minute, the yellow card handed out to Michael Carrion. That being his first yellow of the year. Nice takeaway. Cerro, lead feed. Menina goes high and sends it in. Another Torrent goal. Three, nothing. Torrent on that finish. Off the right foot by Malik Menina. He has been involved in all 3 Torrent goals in this first half. Heck of a start for the Torrent on this Sunday. And that goal coming in the 22nd minute. So Malik now with a multi-goal performance. The brace. He has now scored 3 on the year. Also that great find in helping to set up the finish by Dulafell in the 16th minute. So an outstanding start for head coach Carlos Cordoba's squad. Playing with a great deal of confidence, momentum coming in, and it has carried over so far in this first half. Versus an FC Indiana team that right now still searching for success. And certainly played well enough to earn a victory last week, although at times you could almost make the case they beat themselves. That own goal, critical, but came away with a point. Their first of this season. But all of a sudden, 3 on the board. The most allowed by Indiana in a matchup this season is 5. They lost their season opener back on May 15th, 5-1 at Carpathia FC. The Torrents have yet to score more than 3 in a matchup. They've done so 3 times. Now make it 4. And still relatively early in this matchup. Trying to get that through ball for Revenalis. Gutierrez. Bouguet. And tracked down by Bernardez. He drags. He was being flanked by 3. Sent over by Gutierrez. Lamont going outside. Diaz. That's sent out. We'll stay here with FC Indiana. The throw in for Rashid Sagain. He's going to give way now and allow Sayon Thomas to come over. Thomas given a couple of yellows. He was sent off in that matchup against FC Columbus back on the 29th of May. Picked up another yellow in their last match against Carpathia FC last week. Had her opportunity. That's going to carry high. But a look there at Ricardo John. So trying to get John involved. Mentioned he has scored 3 times. He scored one of their goals against Carpathia FC last week. That was his first goal since he scored a goal in each of the first 2 matches, including one against the Torrent back on the 22nd of May. That long service, here we go again. Filliot, off the left foot, had it blocked. Sayon Thomas, there on the markup for FC Indiana. Results in the 3rd Torrent corner. Over comes Ian Cerro. Boy, speed has been the Torrent's best friend so far in this first half. They have been able to beat FC Indiana down the field on numerous occasions. Dulefeld. And they're going to stay with it. Novak. Able to get around Gutierrez, who got snuff of Novak. Also got a piece of the ball, resulting in another Torrent corner. Again to be handled by Ian Cerro. This comes to the 27th minute. And already a 3-goal lead for the Torrent. Going far post. Oh, a great look there off a knee. You had both Menina along with Velos right there with that look. And deflection right at Kyle Bouguet. Keeping the Torrent. Picking up that season-high 4th goal. John. Again with Bernardez. Plenty of Torrent around, taking away the Indiana attack. Cerro. So he makes his run. Menina will pass it off. Dulefeld on that right side. We're going to leave it. Gutierrez sending it across. That was sent behind Menina, but here's Cerro. On this near side, carry on. Playing with the yellow. Will serve it up. On the backside. Almost worked. Over the reach of Bouguet. Able to pick up the loose ball. Nearly hooking up with Byron Gutierrez. On that backside. Did the Torrent and Michael Carrion. 28th minute. Malik Menina, he has scored twice. 8th and 22nd minutes. Tony Dulafel able to score in the 16th. The scoring so far in this first half. Carry on. Pass, Filion. Knocked away by Alex Gutierrez. Stays here with the Torrent. They have produced an outstanding first half so far here from Hart Park in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. Looking to stay undefeated against an FC Indiana team looking for victory number 1 after recording their first result last week. Settling for a draw. A club that went 1-10-3 back in 2019, outscored 38-8, 8th and last place in the Great Lakes. Everybody look it up at Detroit City FC. That comes across. Oh, what a tamper in front for Alex Filion! 4-0 Torrent. It was set up beautifully. And a 4-goal lead. 30th minute. A season high 4 goals for the Torrent. And they have taken it to FC Indiana in this first half. Oh, is that a thing of beauty? Right there on the doorstep, and easy does it. Filion scoring his 4th goal, tied for the team lead with Dulafel. And for Filion, that being his first goal since scoring one of the 2 in the 2-1 result here on June 12 against FC Columbus. Off the slide, that from Menina. Getting the pass right back, that from Cerro. And again coming out was Bouguet. Stayed with it. Oh, what a team save! And a rebound, put back, and another goal. Filion able to finish. Menina went to send it in. It was blocked by Bouguet. Plus a team save with one of the FC Indiana players flying into the post to try to block it. Did, but it came right back to Alex Filion, who was able to score his 2nd. 5-goal lead. That one comes in the 31st minute. So not even 2 minutes separating the 2 Alex Filion goals. Right now there's a player down for FC Indiana because as he went to block the one shot, he went flying into the post. He appears to be all right. So double checking, but it looks like Eisenhower, George, Calgabor, the shook-up FC Indiana player, but the first shot was blocked. The second shot was blocked, but not the third. So 2 looks for Malik Menina. His first shot was blocked by Bouguet. The second shot by Menina was blocked by Eisenhower George Calgabor before he went flying into the post. And the ball came out, and Filion was able to beat Bouguet, who was down and scrambling, scurrying to try to stop it. Could not. 5 on the board for the Torrent. Just over 32 minutes gone by in this action-packed, high-scoring first half for FC Milwaukee. Goodness. Christopher Bouguet following the Torrent foul with the free kick. This has been something else. So again, not even quite a minute to 2 minutes separating the two Alex Fillion goals. All five in about a 23-minute span. As FC Indiana trying to get one back off that free kick. The attempt going wide off a Torrent. Back up looking for a foul, Ricardo John. A corner here for George Lamotte. Seven shots already for the Torrent. Off the attempt by John. Another corner. Opposite corner now for Anthony Diaz. The focal point of these set pieces has been Ricardo John, but look for Revenalis as well. He sports jersey 21. Going far post, and Pablo Ortiz got a hand on it. Again, Ricardo John was in front for FC Indiana. A throw-in for Sean Thomas. So a very tough start for Christian Castro's Indiana club. The bicycle kick for John. Over it comes with Diaz. Trying to find the spacing, will send it across. And right there was Revenalis. The Torrent trying to counter. That speed again with that long ball. Here comes Byron Gutierrez. Couple of options to his left, which will include Ian Serrell and Malik Menina. But a fine job by Indiana to get back and take away that opportunity for Gutierrez and the Torrent. John. Coming across does Christopher Bouguet. And played here on the ground by Anthony Diaz. He'll serve it up. That service disrupted. Yet Revenalis in front. Off the quick dispersal by the Torrent. And the offside flag up against Byron Gutierrez. 36th minute. No, it's not a graphic error. It's a 5-goal lead for the Torrent. Prior to it, not scored more than 3 in a matchup. Scoring 5 in the last 2 matchups combined. They have scored 5 in the first half of this one. Number of players stepping up as we have an injury stoppage. So that will be tacked on during stoppage time. As right now, Eisenhower, George, Calagabor. We saw the scare earlier off the latest Torrent goal in which he went flying into the post. Coming through with a team save. Was able to battle through, but right now, on his backside for FC Indiana. Finds himself in a sitting position, trying to get back up to his feet. That comes here in the 37th minute. So Eisenhower, George, Calagabor about to be replaced. And we will see Ernest Venny take his spot in the FC Indiana lineup. So medical attention for Eisenhower, George, Calagabor. And Venny will put this one back into play for Indiana. Gutierrez. Thomas. Venny. Trying to go upfield for Anthony Diaz. A Torrent throw-in. Shots are at 7-4. Torrent plus 3. And they have made Bouguet and this Indiana defense work. The Torrent have been able to utilize some long balls. The speed right here on cue. As Mendon made the run, but Bouguet leaves his line to allow the defense time to drop back. Lopez on the throw-in. Cerro. Up this near side, carry on. Off the left foot. Good high ball. And Bouguet snatching it out of the air. Again, the Torrent had somebody on the backside. A near touch there for Byron Gutierrez out of St. Anthony. Here's part of their strong high school soccer program, the Roman Legion. Ortiz. Velos. Able to send it behind Gutierrez. Taken away by Ricardo John. Sending it across. There's a shot. Oh, what a save by Ortiz, denying Revenales. Pablo Ortiz with a great save. As Ricardo John on the cross with Andrew Revenales. And right now Ortiz shook up. Could see it developing with Ricardo John on this near side. Connecting. Revenales just missed out on his accumulating 5th goal of the year. Heck of a save by Ortiz, who has been between the posts throughout this 2021 season. Mentioned the 3 shutouts, no stranger to a clean sheet. During his college days at Cardinal Stritch, back in 2019, a school record, 14 shutouts. So as he gets some medical attention, he is back up, will stay out there. But what a chance for FC Indiana to get themselves on the board. Revenales. And then the second look blasted out of play when Pablo Ortiz was still on the turf. Carry on. Getting the pass along this near flank. And a clean takeaway. Bouguet trying to send it across for Lamont. Novak. Great speed. Revenales. His shot. FC Indiana on the board. A goal scored by Andrew Revenales, and it comes here in the 42nd minute. Able to take it away from Novak. Out came Ortiz. And the goal scored as Revenales with his team-leading 5th of the year. That comes here in the 42nd minute. He just missed out on a goal a few minutes before, but not this time, taking it himself. He has now scored in both games against the Torrent. So it's a 5-1 score. Milwaukee's trying to get that goal right back, but an offside flag will go up first.
The first FC Indiana goal was
So Revenales has now, when we look back at the last series of matchups, he has scored in 3 consecutive matchups and 4 of the team's 6 this season. It has been the 1-2 combo. Revenales, along with Ricardo John, they have been the offense for Coach Castro. On back with Bernardez. Tapper to the outside from Diaz is taken away. And the Torrent with Malik Menina. Going back outside. And Gutierrez with the offside flag. Been a few of those so far in this first half. We mentioned the speed being a big asset for the Torrent. At times maybe a little too quick for their own good. Trying to again catch FC Indiana in transition. Alex Gutierrez. Bernardez having to take it away. That's lifted and deflected off of Bernardez, and the Torrent will throw it in. We're in the 44th minute. Novak. Back on the outside with Dulefeld. And Gutierrez. Getting back Rashid Sagain. Again, we've seen just one substitution here in this first half out of necessity due to injury, in which Ernest Venny replaced Eisenhower George Calgabor for FC Indiana. '45th minute. Carry on, playing with a yellow. Only yellow so far for either side. As FC Indiana going upfield for Ricardo John. Headed away by Novak. Dulefeld. Diaz. Free kick here for FC Indiana. So we have made our way into stoppage time. No word as to how many minutes will be tacked on. But stoppage time here from Hart Park in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. And apparently not much added on. Maybe 10 seconds. But halftime upon us. A dominant first half for FC Milwaukee. They come out. They score the first 5, doing so in a span of about 23 minutes. At the break, the Torrent 5, FC Indiana 1. You're tuned in to National Premier Soccer League action from Hart Park in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. Halftime is winding down here from Hart Park in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. A 5-1 lead for FC Milwaukee, coming out and flexing those muscles, scoring all 5 goals between the 8th and 31st minutes. A season best of 5 goals with a 5-1 lead on FC Indiana. Recapping the scoring, a penalty kick put the Torrent on the board. That came in the 8th minute, and Malik Menina was able to convert on the PK. 1-0 Torrent. Tony Dulafel able to score in the 16th minute. In between all the scoring, a yellow card handed out to Michael Carrion in the 21st before Malik Menina would make it 3-0 Torrent in the 22nd minute. Alex Fillion then was able to score his 4th and 5th of the year, scoring in the 30th and 31st. FC Indiana getting one back before the break on a goal scored in the 42nd minute by Andrew Revenalis. His team leading 5th of the season. That's where we stand through 45-plus minutes of play. Shots are at 8-7 Torrent here at the break. Eisenhower George Calgabor, he went down with injury for FC Indiana. We saw an injury scare too with Pablo Ortiz, but trying to play through. It looks like it's going to be a goalkeeping change to start this second half with Tony Gonzalez back there, not Pablo Ortiz. And not sure if that has anything to do with the injury scare or with the fact the game is 5-1. But Tony Gonzalez is the new Torrent goalkeeper. And Kyle Bouguet between the posts for FC Indiana. So getting ready for half number 2 here from Hart Park. Only one more home matchup for the Torrent in this regular season, which will be coming away on Wednesday, the 7th of July. Panathinaikos Chicago will be in town, a team that the Torrent have knocked off on 2 separate occasions. But what a difference a little more than a month's time has made as these teams met in Lafayette, Indiana back on the 22nd of May. A 3-2 win for the Torrent. Hard-earned 3-2 win. And speed has been a big strength for the Torrent thus far. As Ricardo John get ready to kick off this second half. First, a conversation involving the Torrent and at least 2 out of the 3 officials. Again, we mentioned the goalkeeping change with Tony Gonzalez in place of Pablo Ortiz. And Ortiz, with that injury scare, came after a heck of a save and denying a goal with Revenalis on a cross from Ricardo John. Again, sun is out. It's been out for a majority of this matchup with a game-time temperature in the mid-70s. Wind blowing. Not put a big impact yet on this matchup, at least not noticeably. But again, the precipitation has stayed away. So we are ready, just about to go. But not sure if there's an issue with an injury or what the case may be, but a couple of officials talking, athletic trainer right there with them. After talking to one of the coaches prior to. We mentioned the goalkeeping change that currently has Tony Gonzalez between the posts. I'm not sure if that's what's in question or not. But again, that's the hold-up as we speak. Get this second half started here from Hart Park in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. Carlos Cordoba has been involved in the conversations as well. He was named the head coach back in December of 2018. Now apparently Gonzalez coming back this direction. And taking at least one of his, now both of his goalkeeping gloves off. For FC Indiana, coming back along this near side is Ricardo John to talk with his head coach, Christian Castro. Switching jerseys. He had the orange on, much like Pablo Ortiz. But a different goalkeeping jersey being put on by, again, Tony Gonzalez. And so we are ready, I think, now. A couple of extra soccer balls on the field, keeping players loose. Get those soccer balls rolled off the field. And again, let's build the drama. Second half, 5-1 Torrent. And awaiting Ricardo John to kick off this second half of play. So all this over a jersey. Apparently now everything checks out. Everybody's ready to go. And here we go. Off the pass back from Ricardo John. So the second half is underway here in Wauwatosa, and Tony Gonzalez will put it back into play for FC Milwaukee. Again, a first half that would see the Torrent +1 in shots at 8-7. Came out from the get-go, and good possession, long ball. Able to use that to their advantage and created some great scoring opportunities and finishing strong against Kyle Bouguet. Great ball movement as well. A lot of highlights from the first 45-plus minutes if you're a Torrent fan. And FC Indiana limited to one goal. Here's that long ball again, trying to be put to use with Ian Cerro making the run for the Torrents. But if you're FC Indiana, you're thinking right now, man, we could have two right now at least, after a great save was made by Pablo Ortiz to deny Revenales, who then came back a couple minutes later and would score on his own after a takeaway from Sam Novak. Fillion with a brace. He has now scored 5 times this season. Tony Dulefeld scoring a goal. He has now scored 3 this season against FC Indiana. This will be the matchup again to wrap up the regular season. Saturday, the 17th of July from Lafayette, Indiana. Before that time, though, FC Indiana will have 3 other matchups. Only 2 more on the docket for FC Milwaukee prior to, including one here, as mentioned, against Panathinaikos Chicago on July the 7th. This comes after next weekend, a big one against Carpathia FC from Sterling Heights, Michigan. Played back, that by Velos. Novak. Dulefeld. And Lopez. See if the Torrent go that far side. Novak on the centering feed. Costantini up that left wing. And played over by Carrion. So keep away from FC Indiana. Haven't seen a ton of pressure throughout from Indiana, and that goes back to very early on. Now upfield, nice find, but the offside flag taking away that scoring opportunity. Carry on the target. There's that quickness. There's that speed on display. The former Green Bay Phoenix. He's from Appleton, Wisconsin. Back in 2019, his final go-around with Green Bay. Couple of goals, 3 assists, but saved the best for last. He had points in 4 of their last 6 matchups of that 2019 fall. Bouguet Back with Kyle Bouguet. Seguin. Again, to start this second half, Eisenhower, George Calagabor, who went down with injury in the first half, stays on the bench. Ernest Benny taking his spot in the FC Indiana 11. Here's Benny on the free kick. There with Revenalis. Ricardo John looking to put the brakes on. Trying to split a couple over which direction he turns. Here comes a Torrent. Lamont. Trying to get around. Carry on. Closes off that angle. It's going to be a goal kick here for the Torrent. Closed off that far side, unable to make that turn. Send it across. Not much room to maneuver. Fine job there by Michael Carrion. Early stages here in this second half. The Torrent scoring the first 5, and that being a season best. Also ties the most goals allowed in a match this season by FC Indiana, who again lost their opener 5-1 at Carpathia FC back on the 15th of May. But all of a sudden, 20 goals so far put up on the board in 6.5 matchups by the Torrent. Besides looking to improve to 7-0 at home, or 7-0 overall, looking to improve to 4-0 at home. Another offside flag. Been more than a few of those so far against the Torrent. FC Indiana in danger of falling to 0-5-1, 0-3 away from the Hoosier State. They'll be home for 2 out of the last 4, which will include FC Columbus Saturday. FC Columbus, they're coming off a 2-1 result last night over Panathinaikos Chicago, the only matchup on the docket. There's a shot and a goal scored by Ricardo John. That comes here in the 52nd minute. And FC Indiana has scored 2 unanswered. John with his 4th of the year. It continues to be that 1-2 combo. Revenalis and John, the only 2 that have scored goals for FC Indiana. 5-2 Torrent. Right now, an FC Indiana player down. Not sure what happened to Anthony Diaz, but he was down well after the goal was put in. Holding his head. And Diaz. So off he comes. And not sure if he's bleeding. If he's bleeding, certainly they'll take care of that and see if he can play on. And right now, while he gets taken care of, they will play a man down. So not using one of their substitutions. And Diaz. So everything checks out. Apparently he is not bleeding. He appears to be all right. They have a little bump on his noggin, but Anthony Diaz having to wait. He was hoping to just sub in on the fly, or at least return on the fly, and being told right now he can't. So right now, FC Indiana a man down, and now he's back out there. This is all coming after the goal scored by Ricardo John. Here is Diaz, now on this near side. Looking to send it across, looking to fake out the defense. Now we'll take a shot instead. It's going to be stopped. That by Gonzalez. Well, FC Indiana, they've scored the last 2 in this match. They've now scored 9 as a team, between those two, Revenalis and John. Their high for goals in the matchup is 3. That occurred last week in the 3-3 draw. They've had some when they've been able to create chances, quality looks. Currently out shooting the Torrent 9-8. Ricardo John has that size, toughness. Also showing some frustration. He's been, as you'd expect, with his effectiveness. Been well covered for the most part. Ricardo John from Trinidad and Tobago. Played recently in Honduras and also in the USL with Toronto FC's reserve team. Collegiately with Virginia Tech. For the Torrent coming across. And knocked away from Bernardez. Off the left foot that time with Tony Dulafel. Looking for an outlet. All kinds of traffic there for Cerro. It's like going through Wauwatosa on a Sunday afternoon. That's off the head there of Sam Novak. FC Indiana will come the other way. Ricardo John off the heel pass. Nice job there. Off that heel pass from Matias Lopez. Andrew Revenalis. Christopher Bouguet. John. Right back out, and the Torrent will take it away. Fillion. Able to get around George Lamonti trying to step up for FC Indiana. Up that left wing, here's some speed. Menina. Trying to elude Gutierrez. Menina. Velos. And across the way, the Torrent with Lopez. Velos. Into the box. A couple of players getting tangled. Nice find. Menina. A little lift. A little flick that's going to fly out. And a goal kick here for FC Indiana. So a chance there. Another player right now shook up for FC Indiana. And again, a visit onto the field. A few players are going down so far for FC Indiana. It appears to be some cramping. And right now, down, George Lamont. We've already seen Anthony Diaz with a injury scare for FC Indiana. On top of Eisenhower, George Caligabor, who had to leave, was substituted for late in the first half, replaced by Ernest Benny. FC Indiana coming with a roster of 16. We've seen 12 play so far. They've played as many as 16 in the matchup 3 times in their first 5. As Lamont, he stays out there, and away we go. So to put it back into play, Kyle Bouguet. 58th minute and a 5-2 lead for the Torrent, with FC Indiana having scored the last 2 unanswered. Got a goal in the 42nd from Revenalis and John some 10 minutes later. Lamont trying to go outside with Diaz. That's out to the Torrent. Happy to have you with us on this Sunday for continuing National Premier Soccer League action inside the Midwest Region Great Lakes Conference. 2 teams different ends of the standings. The Torrent 6-0 in first, 5 points up on Carpathia FC, who returns to action home against FC Columbus on Wednesday. Currently in fifth and last, FC Indiana at 0-4-1. They have been outscored 23-9. Only 1 point, which came in their last matchup, a 3-3 tie against Carpathia FC on June the 19th. Ian Cerro with the free kick. Two-player wall for FC Indiana. Off the left foot, had it blocked. That by the leaping Lamont. So he went to put it back into play, get knocked down away from the ball. Revenalis draws a Torrent foul. Looking back outside with Thomas on the restart there for FC Indiana. Bouguet, that being Christopher Bouguet. Ahead, John, offside flag up against FC Indiana. Another chance there involving Ricardo John. That may be the first offside flag today against FC Indiana, more than a handful so far against the Torrent. Both teams at this juncture with 9 shots. Lopez in the pass. Cerro. About to see a series of Torrent substitutions. We're going to go wide. Gutierrez allowing the defense a little bit of time to adjust. But now a takeaway for Alex Gutierrez as he makes his run. Ahead for Revenalis. You can see a little bit of frustration right now. The combination of John and Revenalis working quite the sweat as they make their runs, trying to get those long balls. Emiliano Caballero will be in this grouping of 6 that will sub in for the Torrent. Simon Fabricatori subs in for the Torrent. Connor Provan, he subs in. We'll see Flavio Cruz, Samar D. Ganay, Isaac Pereira. In this group of changes, as mentioned, Caballero being the other. Caballero out of Argentina. He has scored a goal. He scored against FC Indiana. He had the other goal that Dulafel did not register back on May the 22nd. So 6 changes here for Coach Carlos Cordoba, on top of giving Tony Gonzalez the start between the posts here in this second half. 63rd minute. Passed out to the outside by Velos. So a different look here for the Torrent. This pass that finds Diganay out of Trinidad and Tobago. Diganay, 1 touch ahead. And Ian Cerro with that touch picked up here by Kyle Bouguet. For FC Indiana with Bernardez. Nifty move there by Connor Provan. On back, Diganay. Bernardez on the takeaway ahead for Ricardo John. Revenalis following the hard tackle, play on. And FC Indiana over with John. Splits a couple. Nearly knocked away by Cerro, got enough of it. With Digane going down, FC Indiana maintains possession. Christopher Bouguet. A foul after Alan Bernardez took a hit. Meanwhile, a player going down to his backside, perhaps more cramping here for FC Indiana. Not sure if that's Lamont again. Looks like this time it's Ricardo John. Yeah, Lamont's down here, bottom of your picture. So this could be a blow for FC Indiana with Ricardo John, and all that's been asked of him so far on this Sunday. So he gets some medical attention. Number of injury issues. And it looks like he's going to make his way toward the FC Indiana sideline. So a blow here for FC Indiana, considering how dominant at times John has been. And so right now he's trying to walk off what appears to be an enormous cramp. He has not been replaced, and he will not be replaced, and back onto the field he comes. Looking to swing it outside. Lamont. This will stay with FC Indiana. But no, a number of injuries so far, or at least some issues that involved Paige Bourne, the team athletic trainer, to come out. She's been busy. Just when she thinks she can catch her breath and get a cup of water, has to come back out there for one issue or another. But Paige Bourne taking care of a couple of players cramping, another injury that involved Eisenhower, George Caligabor to leave. Saw George Lamont hold his head, but he was able to come back in on the fly. Awaiting a throw-in for Sayon Thomas. 67th minute. Stage 5-2 Torrent. Last goal in this matchup was scored by Ricardo John for FC Indiana in the 52nd. Last Torrent goal was scored in the 31st. Back-to-back in less than maybe a couple minutes for Alex Filliot. And a stoppage here. Not sure what the issue is this time. Now at halftime, before the second half could start, Tony Gonzalez needs to switch his goalkeeping jersey. Well, the head referee came over to talk with one of his assistant refs and the alternate referee, the fourth official on this near side, but whatever the case may be, Thomas throws it in and away we go. There's a quick shot that goes wide for Andrew Revenalis. He just missed out on putting a third goal on the board for FC Indiana. Oh, was that a close call? Looks like a change may be coming for FC Indiana shortly. Luke Capote, he's getting ready to make his way toward midfield. And we've only seen one change so far for FC Indiana, and that was out of necessity. Novak going outside. That's going to get away from Emiliano Caballero, and it's going to be a throw-in here for FC Indiana. 10 shots now for Indiana, and they have just missed out on a third and fourth goal in this matchup. Scoreboard may read 5-2 Torrent, but Indiana playing hard. Now they're coming oh so close to, again, cutting into this deficit and making things interesting here down the stretch. Going upfield. A hold there with Novak. And I can see some of that frustration if you're Ricardo Johnson. Hey, come on now. And a yellow card handed out. So that's the second yellow handed out. And so that goes to Novak. That's the second yellow card the Torrent have seen in this matchup. The first came back on the 21st to Michael Carrion. So this comes in the 70th minute. And apparently the foul occurred just outside the box, although not sure there's going to be a discussion or not as to where exactly that foul occurred. Certainly if you're FC Indiana, you're trying to get a penalty kick out of this. Torrent's going to say, And the conversation begins. Meanwhile, Rashid Sagain takes his opportunity for a water break on the near side for FC Indiana. 71st. Came off the bear hug, if you will, for Sam Novak. In slowing down Ricardo John. Following the conversation, this free kick outside the box. Just outside the box. And so right now, the yellow card being written down. Officially booked. That against Sam Novak. Novak also picking up one of the 4 yellow cards that were handed out in the match against FC Columbus here back on June the 12th. It's his 4th yellow card of the season. This free kick with Ricardo John and George Lamont in front of the 18. Could eventually guess Lamont is a decoy. Multiplayer wall for the Torrent. 72nd minute. No, Lamont takes it and sends it nearly into the parking lot. So John was a decoy. Lamont with the attempt. And a goal kick here for Tony Gonzalez and the Torrent. So a setup here for Gonzalez. 11-9. FC Indiana +2 in shots. And a change here that sees Luke Capote. And out goes Sayon Thomas. So the second change for Indiana in this matchup. And now with Josiah Velos. Able to leave it back. Off the turn with Caballero. Provan. Velos. Tigane will get Gonzalez involved. But it's been a second half that has seen FC Indiana with some decent possession, some opportunities. They certainly have made some adjustments and trying to make things happen. So this will be a throw in here for FC Indiana. Left back for Gonzalez. Provan. Velos. At times we were seeing the Torrent. No real issues and just possessing and knocking it back. Not a ton of pressure been put on by FC Indiana trying to reserve some of that energy and preserve it on this near side. Now here comes the run for Provan. Over for FC Indiana, a takeaway involving Rashid Sagain. 75th minute, soon to be 76th. And a 5-2 lead for the Torrent just joining us. FC Milwaukee jumped in front 5-0. And now a player down for FC Indiana. Again, Paige Bourne, who has been awfully busy. The Torrent athletic trainer will have to sprint onto the field. That occurs here in the 76th. Appears to be cramping once again. Page along with Ricardo John. We're going to stretch out the fallen Indiana player. And that is Anthony Diaz. Well, that's been an issue in this one. And mentioned the sun has been out for a good majority of this matchup. The temperature is now into the upper 70s. That doesn't equate to what the feels like temperature with that heat rising off the turf. When FC Indiana and the Torrent, for that matter, arrived here at Hart Park, sun wasn't quite out yet. The clouds were still a story. But it is heated up quite quickly here this afternoon. So good to see Anthony Diaz able to stay out there. That for FC Indiana. Torrent with a 5-2 lead. Looking to knock off FC Indiana for the second time. They will meet one more time to wrap up the regular season on July the 17th. Deganay. FC Indiana takeaway. The one touch to Revenalis. Trying to go back toward Ricardo John. At times dropping a fifth defender back through the Torrent. Trying to offset those two abilities to run and find some spacing. To the end line, a save with Emiliano Caballero. Possession with FC Indiana. Alex Gutierrez. And again, Anthony Diaz cramping. And he's trying to communicate with his team. I want to sub. He was trying to communicate with Carlos, with Christian Castro, the FC Indiana head coach. And I want to sub as he continues to find his way here the track off the field. Defense trying to get back as the ball's picked up by Kyle Bouguet. Paige Bourne, the team athletic trainer right now, has her hands on her hips. She's waiting for any potential stoppage, if that comes, to make her way across. But for the time being, FC Indiana playing a man down. Corbin Osborne get ready to come in and take the spot of Diaz. Deganay. Velos going across the way. Boy, cramping has been a developing story here in this second half. Provan. Swung across by DeGanay. Upfield with Caballero. Trying to dribble through Gutierrez, able to push him out of the way. Those two get tangled up, and Caballero will stay with it before he's knocked out. Alex Gutierrez there on the markup for FC Indiana. Free kick, Torrent. Now that substitution with Corbin Osborne in. Not sure if Diaz, well, he's back up, but off the field. Will take the scenic route around the field to get back to his team bench area. And now the Torrent free kick. Tapped over to Cerro and now swung off the hand of Bouguet. So a chance there for Emiliano Caballero. That short two-man game with Ian Cerro results in a Torrent corner kick. Had a few of these go their direction in the first half. Nothing so far in this second half until now. So Ian Cerro on the corner. Samar DeGanay right back into the mix for the Torrent. Headed out and coming across Corbin Osborne. Velos. The cross. DeGanay. Goal! '81st minute. Samar DeGanay off the assist from Josiah Velos. 6-2 Torrent. So he goes airborne. Another great find. Velos with the service. And DeGanay scoring his first of the year, becoming the 12th different goal scorer for the Torrent, who have now scored 21 times on the year. They have doubled their previous season high for goals in a matchup. That being their first here in this second half. Torrent foul. Back up is Ricardo John. Free kick for FC Indiana. Alan Bernardez will set it up. Again, watch for John, watch for Revenalis on the receiving end. We're going to test Tony Gonzalez. Most goals now allowed in a matchup this season by FC Indiana as well. Bernardez. Goal kick, Torrent. We're in the 83rd minute. 12-11, FC Indiana's +1 unofficially in shots. So Tony Gonzalez with the goal kick. A 4-goal Torrent advantage. Matchup that has seen Malik Menema score a couple of times. Menena with 2. Tony Dulefeld, his third this season against FC Indiana. A brace for Alex Fillion. And now a goal for Samar DeGanay. Well, FC Indiana with Ola Ladapo. He is subbed in. Osborne has subbed out. The 2 FC Indiana goals, Revenalis and John. Isak Pereira. Stays with the Torrent. Provan. Velos. And the Torrent will go right back with Shamar Diganay. Up is right wing. Connor Provan will see it roll beyond the end line, and a goal kick here for Kyle Bouguet. Well, after this, FC Indiana will next be in action on Saturday at home against FC Columbus. In fact, they get FC Columbus twice with a midweek matchup at FC Columbus on July the 7th. At Panathinaikos Chicago on July the 10th before hosting FC Milwaukee on the 17th of July. That's the remaining regular season schedule for FC Indiana, who's about to fall to 0-5-1. Actually, they won one matchup in 2019 after they went 0-12 back in 2018. They're outscored that year 75-4. The Torrent at Carpathia FC will go into that matchup. The Torrent will have 21 points. Right now, 13 for Carpathia FC going into their matchup on Wednesday, a midweek matchup, home against FC Columbus. So the Torrent head to Sterling Heights, Michigan, Saturday. We'll be back here one more time in the regular season, at least in Midwest Region Great Lakes Conference play in the NPSL. Wednesday, July the 7th against Panathinaikos Chicago. Wrapping up regular season play at FC Indiana on the 17th. But a historic season continuing to develop for FC Milwaukee. They're about to improve to 7-0, 4-0 at home. And now make it a 21-7 scoring differential in the 7 matchups combined. Impressive stuff. Looking for more. And getting another. That from distance for Ian Cerro. From the midfield circle. Holy cow. And the Torrent have taken a 7-2 lead. That comes in the 87th minute. That's when you know it's been your kind of afternoon. In case you didn't know before, almost nonchalant from a step or so inside that midfield circle. Sent it on goal, and it flew over the reach of Bouguet and in. And Ian Cerro from near midfield, scoring his second on the year. His first came in a victory against Panathinaikos Chicago back on the 15th of May. It's a 7-2 lead for FC Milwaukee. Cerro. And Ian Cerro, pressure on the backside from Ricardo John. Caballero. Another takeaway with Novak. Caballero. And FC Indiana going off field. Had Ricardo John on his near side. Lamont. That pass with Alan Bernardez. And FC Indiana looking to send it across, but Novak was there. And now Bernardez. He shoots from a good distance. It's batted away by Tony Gonzalez. Ricardo John. Capote playing it back out. Lamont. Now a chance here for Ladapo. Off the left foot. And Gonzalez with a diving stop. Diving a couple of different directions here in the 90th minute. Connor Provin. Getting the pass right back. (14-12) FC Indiana in shots. Again, talking about the effectiveness. 7 goals, 12 shots for FC Milwaukee this afternoon, early evening. As we near stoppage time here in Wauwatosa. And again, not much added. About 10, 11 seconds. That's all she writes here on this Sunday. So FC Milwaukee with a 7-2 result. 5-0 at 1.51 at halftime. Outscoring FC Indiana 2-1 in the second half for the 5-goal victory in which the Torrent get a brace from Malik Menina and Alex Fillion. Goals from Tony Dulefeld, Samar Diganay, and Ian Serro from nearly at midfield in the 87th minute. FC Indiana got goals from Revenalis and John. Also yellow cards booked against Michael Carrion and Sam Novak for the Torrent, who upped their record to 7-0. 4-0 here at home. FC Indiana heads back to Lafayette at 0-5-1, 0-3 on the road. Again, FC Indiana next in action on Saturday home against FC Columbus. The Torrent will be at Carpathia FC this Saturday and home one more time in this regular season, hosting Panathinaikos Chicago Wednesday, the 7th of July. That will do it for our match broadcast on this Sunday. Thanks to our entire crew behind the scenes. Matt Middle saying so long and good evening from Hart Park in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. Again, your final, FC Milwaukee 7, FC Indiana 2. You've been watching continuing National Premier Soccer League action from Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. Torrent win 7-2. So long, everybody.